Hi everyone, my name is Charlie and today I am here with the mid-year book freakout tag. We all know how this goes, so let's just get directly into things. The best book you've read so far this year. Sheep's Clothing by Celia Dale. This is a dark comedy following the characters of Grace and Janice after they are released from Holloway Prison and they embark upon another crime scheme in which they are going to scam older people out of their belongings. They go into the house, they chat to them, then they drug them, but unfortunately something goes wrong at one of the houses and the net might begin closing in on them. Then we have best sequel you've read so far this year, The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan. This is the second book in the Wheel of Time series, and quite honestly, if I had more books from this series on my shelves already, then I probably would have read more of them. But as I'm not buying any new books this year, I've just had to cope with this one. What Robert Jordan has done so well is create books that, whilst they are incredibly hefty, there is still this propulsive quality to get through them. And with this book in particular, I found myself incredibly worried for the way things were going to go for the characters. Then we have new release you haven't read yet but want to, and for this I've gone with Parade by Rachel Cusk. Although things have been a bit hit and miss with Rachel Cusk in the past when it's come to my reading of her work, I found that I do have a tendency to prefer the work that she's released in the last few years. I say that I'm talking about the Outline trilogy. Nothing has yet reached my liking of Arlington Park. That is my favourite Rachel Cusk. I've read it multiple times. Sometimes I download it and just read a chapter or two. I really enjoy that book. I think it's fantastic. The first time I downloaded it, I read in one sitting just lying in bed. I think that Arlington Park is great, and I'm hoping that Parade is going to have some of that same style in, and I'm going to enjoy it when I'm eventually buying books again. Then we have my most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and this is a book that I'm planning on reading in the next fortnight, which is The Trouble with Mrs. Montgomery Hurst by our very own Katie Lumsden. This is Katie's second novel, and I've heard is more comedic. I can't remember what the book is about, but Katie wrote it. I adored The Secrets of Heartwood Hall last year, and I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm hoping it's going to be the sort of breezy novel that a person likes to read in the summer. Biggest disappointment. For me, that was Blaming by Elizabeth Taylor. This was the last book that was ever released by Elizabeth Taylor. She was rushing to write this before her death, and quite honestly, I think that you can tell that within the prose. There are certain ways things are wrapped up that just happen too quickly, and it felt like this book was written in a rush. Not good. I thought it decidedly abysmal. Then we have Biggest Surprise, Written on the Body by Jeanette Winterson. I still have no idea what it was about the other book that I was reading at the time that inspired me to go and pick this book up, but this was so poetic, there's so much philosophizing about love and what love means to be a person, how love transforms a person, that connection between love and death. It was absolutely stunning. Favourite new author, debut or new to you? For this, I went with Ainsley Hogarth, who wrote Mother Thing, because Mother Thing was just the kind of twisted, dark comedy that I enjoy. There are so many of my fellow readers that I can't recommend this book to. There are so many people who don't have the same sense of humour as me. It's decidedly weird and grim and grotesque. It's Blithe Spirit meets that zombie show with Drew Barrymore. It is just amazing. It suited my sensibilities to a T, and I want to read more of Ainsley Hogarth. I don't know what else the author has out there, but I know that I want to read all of it. And then we have question number 8, and that is your newest fictional crush. Question number 9 is your newest favourite character. For me, that is Jason from Black Swan Green by David Mitchell. I very much understood who Jason was in terms of the adolescent anxiety that he is going through, the way that we change our behaviour as teenagers, the shyness that we go through because we just want to be accepted, we don't want to be bullied, so we'll start interacting in ways that don't feel true to us. And honestly, I feel like Mitchell managed to capture what it means to be a teenage boy, especially in this era, incredibly well. Then we have a book that made you cry, or the saddest book you read. As we know, I famously don't have any emotions, so none of these books made me cry. But a sad book was We All Want Impossible Things by Catherine Newman, which is a tale of friendship between two women who have been friends their entire lives, and one of them discovers that she has a terminal illness. Then we have a book that made you happy, and I'm being pretty self-aggrandizing here and mentioning my own book, Mistakes Mean Murder. Why did this book make me happy? You might be asking. And the reason is because I finished the darn thing. Favourite book to film adaptation. And for this, I had to go with Last of the Summer Wine, specifically the episode entitled Getting Sam Home, because I haven't watched many films at all this year, but I know that I watched this episode of Last of the Summer Wine, which is an adaptation of a novel, and when they were looking into making films of Last of the Summer Wine, this was what they adapted. And then we have favourite video made, and for me that is still Please Don't Read These Books. I don't know what it was. That video did incredibly well over the weekend that it was released. I gained a load of subscribers that have now disappeared. I think that I just had something in that video that I've never had before and I'm never going to have again. It was this essence of booktube, this exuberance and this snarkiness that worked well, and I'm never going to be like that again. Most beautiful book purchased. I'm not buying any new books this year, so I haven't bought anything since December. So nothing. No. Nada. Not applicable. And then we have books you need to read by the end of the year. I always preface this by saying that I don't have any books that I need to read because I don't want it to feel like an obligation. However, I would have liked to have read all of the remaining unread books from my shelves by the end of this year. We'll see how things go, but that's that. And that's me. That is the mid-year book freakout tag. If you've read any of the books that I have mentioned here and would like to discuss them, then please feel free to do so in the comments. I hope that you have enjoyed this video because until next time, that is all.